surprise for you. I'm here with my sister Frances and a friend of hers, and this is an extra bonus that I wanted to do because our house is a bit mayhem. And I did an earlier video where I was just chatting on the deck over there, but I thought, since I got two people here and they're both artists or wannabe.
I'm a wannabe.
Wannabe. This is Maggie, Frances.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
So I thought it'd be fun if we just had an art chat, since I've got a couple other people here besides my dog and my husband. And we decided we were going to talk about, I think, fear, but it also, you know, I think that's the thing that's in the background. The way it looks, it shows up in different ways. So Maggie was saying to me the other day how she wants to do art,
But I get stuck.
but she gets stuck. And
I
so
freeze.
you freeze.
Yeah.
And do you have a studio at home?
Well, I have a house, which I could use
Okay.
a room in my house to paint. For
Right.
Sure.
But you want to paint, but you're not painting.
Yeah, because every time I think about painting, I just think I'm not good enough. That blank canvas scares me. And I've taken some classes and I compare myself to others because I go, oh, well, like that person, and it doesn't matter how long they've been doing it, I compare myself. I go, I can't do that. Mine's not as good. I'm not good enough. I'm not really a painter.
Right.
That's what goes on in my head.
Right. Right. And how about you, Frances? Has that ever come up for you in your...
Certainly the not good enough comes up. I always compare myself to you.
Uh-oh.
You know, and well, what would Pauline do? What would Pauline say? It doesn't look like Pauline's. And I have to move past that because I have to move into my own style and build confidence. And I don't know how to get there, even though like I've painted lots and lots and lots. I started out, when I started out painting, I started out really detailed and perfection oriented. But now I like messy better and not crisp lines. They have to be fuzzy and blurry. So I'm working on this painting right now, and I'm stuck because I had a feeling and I was trying to express it, and then I sat down and I was looking at the painting because I'd reworked it a number of times, and then and I just kept, oh, it needs this, so I'm adding stuff, and then when I was finally finished, so it was finally finished and I'm going, oh, that's too much. So what I do is I like something and I go overboard. I don't know when to stop, like it's overkill.
So you're not afraid. That is a plus. That is a plus.
Good.
Okay, well that's kind of interesting because, first of all, I want to backtrack then. Thanks for sharing some of that with us, because I remember when I set up my studio here, and I think I mentioned that when we started talking the other day about this. But I set up the studio and it was really organized, but I actually couldn't get in. Yeah. I was afraid that if I went in and started painting that I was going to make a mess, which I did. A horrible mess. But the thing that I recall after doing it for a lot of, hours or for a few years, was it gets better and better. And you know what? You are going to make a mess. And I think we talked about that the other day, that the way getting in is to be okay with making a mess, or being okay with being where you're at, or being a beginner. I say this often to clients who want to be further ahead. We would never expect children to walk right away, or to know how to use the alphabet, or if you wanted to go skiing, I mean, I did this actually when I was 16. I went skiing and I went all the way to the top of the hill and I fell all the way down because I didn't even take lessons.
Yeah.
And I was in so much pain and I just couldn't believe it. And it just, I had a friend who had said, well, can I show you a few things? And I thought, well, that's a good idea. But it didn't occur to me that the expectation was way too high. And if we stay in the moment and acknowledge where we're at, then there's a lot more room to be where you're at than to hope that you're going to be somewhere else.
So not to expect myself to be great, you know, like just allowing myself to be wherever I am and just throw some paint on the canvas, like just do something, just start it somehow.
Yeah, you know what I find really challenging, and I still do, is I think about painting rather than playing with paint. You know, like paint is for painting a wall or painting a painting. But what if I looked at it like I found this jar of something that I didn't know what it was for, and I started dipping my finger in it and feeling it and, you know, seeing what it could do? That is way easier. When I play around with my materials, I get way better results both from how I feel about what's happening and what's actually happening in front of me. Like, it's full of surprises. If I sit down or I get into my studio and I think, okay, what does this need? Like, how am I going to make this more powerful? That is a very different mindset than coming and going, well, I wonder what this can do. Or, you know, I'll grab a tool and just try it out. And I'll go, oh, wow, whoa, I don't like that at all.
I'm glad you brought that up because I think a lot of times I'm trying to control the outcome of the painting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and not letting go of what's going to happen, and also having a vision in my mind of what it's, you know, supposed to be, or being attached to certain things on the painting that I want to keep.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's normal, but it's, you'll notice that it's contrary to what your inner being wants. Like, this is what I find anyway, is that I can be working on a piece and I can be really fluid and I'm having a great time and the materials are like, oh God, and then I see, ooh, I like that. Now all of a sudden I'm getting attached to it, right? I want to keep that. Oh, I can see a landscape there. And so then I'll figure out, okay, I can freeze that. Maybe I'll spray some airbrush medium on and let it dry so that that's not going to flow anymore or whatever. And now I'm coming in with expectations and that I want to do this now. I think we need those anyway, because you're in a creative process, you know, call and response. I see this, now what do I want to do? I try this, does work, doesn't work, okay, now what am I going to do? But when all I'm doing is trying to get it to be somewhere, that becomes more and more restrictive. And while I'm actually enjoying trying to push it along a certain way, there's a part of me that's starting to really resist that. And they're happening at the same time.
Yeah.
One's going, come on, you can do it. And the other one's like, come on. And then it's like, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's usually when I'll intentionally wreck it. Where it's going so much in the direction that I've mentally decided that it needs to go, is when I will, and I don't even plan this. Like, I'll just grab paint and I'll watch my arm and I'm like, no, don't. And as soon as I disturb that control thing, I feel a relief.
Okay.
Like, it's like, oh wow, look at that beautiful messy edge against that tightly designed. It's given it life again. Like, once it starts, for me anyway, and I hear this a lot from other artists, once I start trying to control everything, I feel tighter. As soon as I'll even throw paint on it, flick it on, all of a sudden new life comes. new possibilities, new options.
So you don't start with an image in your mind at all, because that's, you know, like I'm like that, where I have to think I've got to have this picture, I've got to have this perfect image that I have in my head that I want to paint.
It never turns out that way.
Well, this is it too, right?
Right? Yeah.
You got a
Yeah.
plan, and then, but have you ever tried to copy somebody's work? I mean, just as a practice or like to
Well,
learn?
I have done it from a photograph, you know.
Okay.
So
But
I've
somebody
been-
else's work, well, even a photograph, the same thing would happen. Can you do it?
Well, not perfectly, no.
Exactly. And I find and it's good to try to copy someone's work because you can learn a lot, but I find it really hard to do. And the reason why I have a hard time doing it is because there's a part of me that doesn't want to copy, that I want to make my own thing. So I might start going, okay, so they got that, and there's over there, and then it's like that. Even my own work, I'll try to copy my own work because I did something small and think, oh, that would look so great big. And the next thing I know, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't want that there now. Like, and so I start changing it because I think that we are creative beings, and we do have like the ability to imagine. We have something in us that wants to come out. So even if you have a starting point, making room for the more, like the more in us, rather than it all
Fitting into a box.
Yeah. So now you had mentioned about getting stuck and finding pieces of a painting that you wanted to save, and that's, you know, what's interesting about that, I learned from a lot of artists, like well, in the end it was Nick Wilton who says just let it go, and I like to actually save some of the things that I love, not necessarily within a painting, but a painting itself. Because I think it's good to have cheerleaders around. If you like a painting that you did, to have it around to remind you that you can do this. But the pieces that we love, they can also start to control what you're doing on your piece, because you're trying to spend most of your time saving it and supporting it. However, you know, being creative also means that you're using both sides of your brain. You're being left brain, right brain, intuitive, and you're thinking. And so you might find a piece that you really love, and you can try to work it, but you also have to at one point decide it's not worth it. I've got this much working on the painting and I'm trying to do the rest of it to make it work, then it's not working actually, right?
Yes, and this discussion still leaves me at a loss for what to do. Maybe I'll just go home and throw paint on it.
Well, I have a question. Do you only work on one painting at once?
Usually.
Because if you work on, it's a suggestion that really helps. If you have, just start another painting. You could say, I like you where you are, or I don't know what to do with you next, so I'm going to start 2 more with the same colors. Maybe I'm going to try to copy you, and maybe I'm going to try something completely different. And while you're working on those, you'll actually find your answer in those.
Okay.
On that, for that
That's
one.
a great suggestion.
Well, then you don't
because-
sacrifice that one if you're not ready yet.
Yeah. And because I was thinking I should just start another painting, because I don't know, I can't move forward on this one yet.
It also gives you time to fall out of love, because while you're creating new things, you'll fall in love with those. The other thing that Nick Wilton said was, if you do a series, like say 3 paintings, and you do 20 minutes on this one, and you move 20 minutes to the next, and then 20 minutes to the next, you start getting better on number 3. Like your number 3 will be better than this because you're warming up. You also then, by the time you got over here, there's something that you've discovered along the way that you can bring that back into this one.
Oh.
You keep working them like that. One of these is gonna, like this painting I was telling you about, it was a breakthrough painting. All of a sudden, and I work in a series, and my most was about 20 at a time, which is a lot.
Wow.
But they push each other. And that one was among a whole bunch of others, and it was like, boom, whoa, way you go, you know. And so whatever I learned in that one, I could now try on the next one. And now this one kind of got left behind, like not the favorite anymore because there were awesome things happening in the next ones, right?
Okay.
So, you know, and I don't want this to go on too long, but you know, the fears that we have, it's about finding ways to sneak around them, to or dismantle them, or to see that's not really real. I just decided that I wasn't good enough. I actually, if I give myself the space to be where I'm at, which is a really beautiful place, because you're never going to be here again. You're going to be more advanced.
Yeah.
So enjoy this little naive, innocent, and you know, and I mean, and I try to do that all the time. Like it's now I don't have a lot of time, so I'm working in a sketchbook, and it's back to, okay, what do I do on paper? How do I do this? What kind of lines do I have? Like right back to like, I don't know what I'm doing.
So that's the quick question I wanted to, because as a beginner, do I need to have drawing skills? Do I need to start tight and try and get looser? Like I don't have to go through those steps. I just put paint on the canvas.
You just do you. Like forget all the shoulds.
Okay.
Have a piece of paper or a canvas, and like a child, look at your brush and dip it in the paint. And if you want to scribble, scribble. If you want to do polka dots, if you want to join the dots, if you want to see how many different shapes,
Okay.
if you want to, you know, just try what you want to try. I mean, like I said, and like I realized, painting seems to get us into this mindset that we have to make a picture.
Or
Yes.
some masterpiece the first time around.
Yeah. What if
you paint with your eyes closed?
Just try something.
some people shut the lights off or turn them really dim so they can just see the values, dark and light?
Oh, that's an idea.
Yeah.
And just try something.
I know somebody who's got these like 3D glasses that makes, I think, a transparency sheet of green or red. It will just show you values. So you just made a pair of glasses and she puts them on to check her values. But the thing is, it simplifies, right? Like, don't go nuts and have every color out and every tool out because you're just going to drive yourself bananas. Like, be gentle, right? Don't expect cordon bleu cooking when you just walked into the kitchen for the first time,
That's
right?
my problem.
Well, I think it's all of us because we get really excited. But, you know, that's where I really started to learn about what turned my dial. Was like on that painting up there, I kept it simple. Brown, I don't know if you can see it, no you can't in the camera, but brown and white and black and a bit of red oxide.
Yeah.
And I just took charcoals that were those colors and pencils that were those colors, and I grated charcoal and let it sift. I would smear it, I would spritz it, I would tip. I just would do whatever I could with those things to see what would happen, and that I found really exciting because it started drawing its own picture.
Cool. Yeah.
Now, oh, was that your?
Okay.
Oh,
It's Echo.
Echo's talking to Echo. What's the time? Oh, she's not going to talk back to us. Well, I think she just let us know that we probably talked long enough.
I think so.
So anyway, did you
I
want to say
want-
something
I
first?
just have a question before we end.
Okay.
Grading, and I bought some charcoals that were really pretty. Like
Okay.
they're just
You're going to mess them up then, right?
well, they're like in this pink and dark rhubarb and a brown, but it's a reddy
Oh, I
brown.
know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, and I used it on the painting, and then I painted over, and it was getting mixed
Yeah.
in, and I kind of liked that,
Yeah.
except that then things got really messy,
Yeah.
and then they got obliterated.
Did you want to, was your question how to secure them?
Yeah.
You can use spray fixative,
Okay.
which smells. You can use hairspray if you're just keeping hairspray, and I don't use that much. But if you want to reduce the stress and you're trying to keep it light and you're not using expensive stuff, hairspray works. It keeps you in the, I'm learning. I don't need to make a masterpiece. That's why Hairspray is
Okay.
nice, and I'll use that on paper.
But I
Or-
wanted to have like go in part of it and like feather, like bring some of it out, but leave some of the intensity.
Well, that will be your challenge.
Yeah.
But to secure it, you can also spray it with airbrush medium.
Okay.
And if it's not, if it's dry, you could put medium over it or gel, but don't do it twice, like once, and that's it, and it still might move it. But if you want to
It
move
would.
part of it,
Mm-hmm.
that's your challenge. Like that's part of the art making, is looking at it going, okay, what am I going to do if I like some of this but I want to move some of it, and a brush is going to move it too much.
Yeah.
Maybe you're going to use an icing spreader that can scrape it across, or maybe you're going to dab it with paper towel,
Mm-hmm.
or like that's, to me, part of the art making process is I've got a problem here. What am I going to do to solve that? What am I going to do to try to get it to do this? And then you'll find out whether
Yeah.
it works or not.
Okay. Okay.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah.
Any
thanks.
last words, anybody?
Well, thank you. Thank you for holding this
Yeah,
little meeting.
I appreciate that you
Yeah.
guys bucked up and had the courage to do this, because guys, I just asked them about 20 minutes ago, do you want to do a live with me? A video on whatever comes up, and they're like, oh my god, okay. So I appreciate your courage. That's really
Thanks.
great. I appreciate
I
that.
didn't feel the least bit nervous.
Well, that's
'cause then
good.
That's because I know you.
Well, that's good. How about you, Maggie?
I felt good too.
You're cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're all cool.
Thanks,
Thanks
Polly.
everybody,
Bye.
and see you next time.